Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys and you ladies, this literally does not work. I mean, seriously, it does not work without all of you great fans, so it's going to continue with all of you great fans. And speaking of great fans, mail check, and I think I know who this came from. One of the best, not the only, but one of the best supporters of the channel, and my brother from another mother, Joseph Heatherly. Joseph Heatherly is literally, his spirit is all over my man cave. Right here, look at that. The Dallas Cowboys chair of honor. I have yet to sit down. I'm still having a problem. I got the plywood to build the base for the throne, but the problem is I've got to draw a perfect star. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect star and make it about 3 inches thick to raise it up and to make it the seat of. Oh wow! Oh wow! So because of what we have done here at the Jobu Sports Report. See, Joseph, I hate to say it, it's not broke down. Joseph saw our pickup truck there, and he's like, oh, I love it. He's like, I got you the perfect truck for your set. And he said, there's one problem, though. I said, one problem? What is that? He said, they messed up because they were supposed to send one piece to him. He said there was actually, it's a Huey. There we go. Huey helicopter. And I learned something about Joseph Heatherly. Joseph, it's going to be on the way. I'm going to take care of it, and it's going to be headed to you. Joseph Heatherly, who plays Wyatt Earp at Tombstone. Seriously. Wyatt Earp. So don't mess with Joseph Heatherly. Because Joseph, well, he'll put a bullet in your ass, okay? Joseph, I'm going to take care of this. Michael will get it to you tomorrow. Joseph is a man of many talents. But like I said, he actually plays Wyatt Earp in Tombstone. I found out he flew Huey helicopters in Vietnam. I didn't know that. He never told me that. So he ended up getting that model so he can have for himself. But Joseph, oh, wow. This is beautiful. Now, what I need to do, Josie's Auto Repair, is see if I can get a small sticker, a broke-ass media, and put it on there. Because this is perfect. Shout out to Joseph. I'm going to play with that later. That's going to be sitting right up in here. And this is the case. Oh, perfect. He knows it's going to be outside. So I even got the display case for it. Shout out to Joseph Heatherly. I appreciate it. Okay, so been busy working on getting the outdoor, trying to make it look pretty because, hey, I drive a junky truck, okay? So my backyard's junky too. But I want this to look really, really good for the draft party that we'll be having 2 weeks from tonight. Right now, we will be live, and the Jacksonville Jaguars will be on the clock in 9 minutes from now. So I want to be ready. I want to make everything look good. I got flowers out here that we're planting and things, and getting the fish pond, getting everything mulched up because we got to have it looking good. We're going to have people over, not too many people, but a few people over. So let's get to the news of the day for the Dallas Cowboys. First of all, shout out to Aldon Smith. He did sign a 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Unfortunately, we won't be getting a compensatory pick. I think the value of the contract is so low. We didn't actually lose a whole lot as far as free agency goes. So there's that. Now, I tried to explain this earlier when I actually reported it, and people said, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about, which may be true. It may be true. I don't really know what I'm talking about because I was saying the Cowboys had the opportunity to trade him during the season. Before the trade deadline, Seattle was inquiring about making a trade for him. And at that point, the Cowboys said, nah, he's part of our plans. We got this together. Evidently, as the season went on, of course, his numbers slowed down from where it started out really, really high, and they figured we're going to let him go. The thing that kind of still is a mystery to me is that they had said that, or we had heard rumors that there may be something going on that may slow down his eligibility because there was something. We don't know if it was a missed test. We don't know if it was an off the field appointment. We don't know, but we had heard that that it may be a suspension coming. Apparently it's not because, well, Seattle signed him. So there's that. Second thing, Giovani and Clowney. Here's the new thing that is key or is big now in the NFL is this year, voidable years. Basically, people are signing players to get them paid for this year, but then they'll add on voidable years, which means we're just going to go ahead and say that this is a year of your contract so we can spread out your money. So that way we don't have a bad cap hit this year, and we're not going to pay you next year. That's what it is. It's a one-year deal. That's what we heard. $10 million for Giovani and Clowney. Okay? That sounds, kind of high, but okay. But the reality is the cap number for Clowney is only $3.8 million. And when you look around at a lot of these big contracts that we see, they have a lot of voidable years. Tyson Hill, I believe they signed him to a $74 million contract that has 4 voidable years, and basically it's like $2 million is what they're paying for him actually this year, and he'll never see that $74 million. It's just a new way of basically ginning the system. The Cowboys did take some advantage of that with the Dak Prescott situation because they added 2 voidable years onto his contract, in which case they'll probably renegotiate or do something else, or if they want to, they can spread out some more money down the road to get cap relief. This is just basically a new trigger and a new way of doing business where, technically, you wink, wink, you have a salary cap and you can't spend so much money, but you really can. The funny thing about this is, the Cowboys could take advantage of this more like other teams and sign other players. KJ Wright comes to mind. KJ Wright was looking for 2 years. Well, why couldn't you go ahead and say, okay, we got you for 2 years. We'll pay, do that, and we'll add 3 years voidable to it and make this a cap-friendly number. But the Cowboys don't seem to be doing that too much, and maybe there's another plan with KJ Wright that it's actually after the draft and after May 3rd, so they don't give Seattle a compensatory pick. This may be, I'm just saying, in my mind, players that have left Seattle and some that are still there sometimes don't really seem to like Seattle too much. You'll remember Earl Thomas with his contract situation where he literally gave them the finger after he got injured. You remember that, right? And Russell Wilson, of course, who literally had to say, either you pay me by April 15th and get my long-term contract, or I will never sign a long-term deal with you, and proceeded to try and get his way out of there this year. So it does not seem like there is this, as you see with Cowboy players that are, once a Cowboy player, always a Cowboy player. It seems like with Seattle, when you leave, screw you. Now, hypothetically, this is my own little thing, that KJ Wright might have like kind of a little side deal maybe with the Cowboys because he hasn't signed with anybody yet. It's not that he was injured and you're worried about him coming back because Lord knows we signed Keanu Neal after having a ruptured Achilles tendon. It may be one of these things that KJ Wright is sitting there like, you know what, if I sign with you now, Seattle gonna get an extra pick. Screw Seattle. I don't want them to get jack. I'll wait till May 3rd and we'll do this deal then. Just saying. Got to think outside the box here because something's funny here that KJ Wright has not been visiting anybody else. I mean, seriously? Okay. So we got that. Then we got my main man, Ceedee Lamb. My man, Ceedee Lamb. Woo! You'll remember famously Philly 500 and his meltdown. We're hoping that we see a Philly 500 meltdown at the draft this year, and we will be ready. Well, trust me, we will be ready to bring it to you live here on the channel because we'll have our exclusive Philly 500 camp. Ceedee Lamb said today that the skilled players on this team can compete with anybody. Skilled players being Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Ceedee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz. Those are your skill guys. Those 7 guys. Collectively. Some people took offense to that and said, oh, he's arrogant. Now, first of all, let's start with this. He didn't say, we going to the Super Bowl. You know, it's not like he did the Babe Ruth where he pointed like, you know, I'm hitting a home run. It's going right up. No, he didn't do that. He said the Dallas Cowboys skilled position players can compete with anybody. And that would be against another defense. If Dak Prescott is there, you can pretty much believe that. They competed with the Rams. The only reason why the Rams got him beat was Jalen Ramsey got away with holding the receiver, and we got called, literally. He locked his arm up in here. And somehow, some way, Michael Gallup gets called for offensive pass interference? Yeah. You saw him against Seattle. You saw him against the Browns. With Dak Prescott and those guys, even with Zeke Elliott not performing. Yeah. They were leading the league in points, and had they continued at that pace, they would have ended up having more points than anybody else in the NFL. Inactive too long. Sorry. I'm talking too much, and I'm not using the computer. Got to use the computer or else it goes to sleep. Or I talk the computer to sleep. He's like, like, you so boring. You so boring. And he's basically saying,
enough is enough. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Everybody strap in.
Literally, my computer said enough is enough. We're going to sleep. Now, I don't have a problem with that. I've believed that in order for something to become a reality, you have to first think that can be achieved. That's what you have to do at first. If you do not believe that something can happen, how's it ever going to happen? The second part of that, though, where most people seem to forget, is once you believe that you can do something, you got to work your ass off to make it happen. When I was first starting YouTube, had about 50 subscribers, 100 subscribers, and they said, you're too old for YouTube. You're too computer illiterate for YouTube. You're a freaking idiot. You can't talk in front of people, and you're butt ugly. But I said, you know what, to myself, I can do this. And from that point on, I made sure that whether I succeed or not, I can guarantee one thing, that nobody will put in more work to try and achieve than I will. And I will never fail. You know why I will never fail? Because I'll never give up. See, you don't fail. You only stop trying. And my final thing for tonight, I don't know if you're hearing the wind. It's getting really windy out here tonight. As we get here to the draft, here's the thing. I've been sitting here thinking about this because it seems like more times than not, there'll be a guy or a couple of guys where they become the guy. And I'm wondering, because more times than not, when they find people, they say, oh, he's going to be great. You know, for 2 years ago, it was Tua. Remember, tank for Tua. Tua, he's going to be great. And all the scouts and all the experts and everything else they got out there, you know, just like a Josh Rosen. Oh, Josh Rosen, he's most, you know, because you hear of the Todd McShays and the Mel Kipers, and they tell you this guy is getting the real deal. And I wonder if people really do their homework or if they just follow along with what everybody else is saying. Because the person who actually got me thinking about this, and I have to give credit where credit is due, is Colin Cowherd. Because he was talking about how, you know, somebody was talking about Justin Fields and things like that, and they said, "Oh, well, he doesn't go to the to progressions. He always goes to his first read." And so one person says that, then everybody kind of follows along, and that's what you hear. And a lot of times, that's what we get, not just with football players, but in life in general. You hear something, and you figure, oh, well, somebody said that, so it must be true, so let's follow along with that path. But I think, as I look back with, like, Dak Prescott, for me, I was sitting here looking at Carson Wentz. Because everybody was talking about Carson Wentz, oh man, Carson Wentz is great, North Dakota Satan, North Dakota assassin. And I watched the Senior Bowl, and I watched him, and I'm not a college guy. I'm the first one to tell you, I am not the college guy, okay? That's why I don't do a lot of mock drafts and stuff. I don't tell you everything about the players. That's a Vosh Lombardi. That's a Skywalker Steele. That's those guys. That's my man, John Gardner, DMV. They do all the work. I don't have that time. I don't. I focus in on the Dallas Cowboys and their issues, and that's a full-time. That's 2 full-time jobs right there. So I went to that blind, not knowing jack about Carson Wentz other than this guy is supposed to be good. Let me watch him play the Senior Bowl. And I see Dak Prescott, not knowing anything about Dak Prescott. And I'm looking and saying, Dak at least had a touchdown pass. Dak seemed like he played better than Carson Wentz. And so from that point, I just started looking at the film. Because what you heard was, he's Tim Tebow with a slightly better arm. He's a running quarterback. But as I watched the film on him, the reason why he ran was not because, let me just tuck and run because I'm going to run and make more yards with my feet. He tucked and ran because shit wasn't there and was breaking down. And I kept saying in my mind, wait a minute. This guy got Mississippi State ranked number 1, a non-football powerhouse in the best conference in football. And I looked around and I said, okay, so he got a lot of, other college players playing with him. No. The only person who was any good on his offense was his tight end who was drafted in the 6th round. He didn't have a great offensive line. He didn't have great wide receivers. And I'm sitting there looking at the numbers and looking at the competition that he faced, the LSUs, the Alabamas, the big dog teams. And I said, wow. To me, this guy looked pretty good. As I looked around to see what other people said, everybody kind of said, nah, man, it's Jared Goff. It's Carson Wentz. It's Paxton Lynch. Those are the guys. And everybody followed along with that because that's the guys that they were talking about. And I think more times than not, that's what happens and why we have so many guys that are bust. Because a couple of people come up with their guys that are their pet guys. They start talking about them, and so everybody gets on their bandwagon. Meanwhile, there's guys who nobody really knows, nobody's really watched, nobody's really broke them down, that are really good, and they end up being the ones that succeed. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. But at least that's my take on it. And I've talked enough. But now I got me a new toy to play with. So, with that being said, I am done for this evening. I hope you guys enjoy the latest edition of, I'm not sure what to call this, okay? Fish has got Fish at 6. This is kind of my late evening stuff. I like to come out here. And then, of course, I got my fireside chat. So you got your morning coffee, the Don't Sleep on the Dallas Cowboy report. You got the midday report, of course, because in case there's some breaking news, I'm sitting, okay. Yeah. I'm all in on YouTube. And like I told you before, nobody, and I mean nobody, will outwork this mother humper because Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?